Hello and welcome to the last of our confidence builder blocks. If you've been following us along from the beginning, you'll have 8 completed blocks. So what we've done for the first one, great for if you're just starting out with quilting, and we've just gone either side of the seam lines. I've used the edge of my foot as a guide. So I've done that horizontally and vertically, so that was our first block. For our second block we did crosshatch, and we just used the squares as our guides for making our squares. So each square has a cross in it. For our third one we combined those two together to get a really nice effect for our quilting, so there we have it on the back. So that was combining our crosshatch with the going either side of our seams. Our fourth one was our stitch in the ditch one. If you're going to be doing stitch in the ditch, you really want your squares to be accurately pieced, and to take your time with your stitching so that you stay within the seam lines. This one we've done a smaller crosshatch, so really great for a traditional style quilt. It just has that feel to it. For this one, if I turn it over you can see the quilting better. We divided our block into 4. We went created a cross horizontally from corner to corner, diagonally, which gave us our 4 corners. And in each of these 4 quadrants we've done our echoed our triangle pointed design. We've got all our points going into the centre. So you get a nice effect if you're doing that repeated on a bigger quilt, you can get a diamond effect. This one is our split diagonals. Started off by stitching a line diagonally from one corner to the other. One side we did echoed lines 1 inch apart, parallel to the centre. On the other half we did it perpendicular, so they're coming up to meet that centre line. So that again would make a great design on a larger quilt. For our 8th block we just did a simple zigzag, and we just used the squares that we've created as the guide. And here we come to our last block. Okay, so what we're going to do for this one is a herringbone design. Again, we're going to be stitching the ditch in all directions, and then we're going to be adding our zigzag like we did for our last design. So I'm going to mark those in. So once it's marked, we can add our pins. So for demonstration, I'm just using the squares that we've got. You can mark and do a smaller design if you wish. When it comes to doing a bigger quilt, you could do your stitching in the ditch first, and then once it's all secure you can come back and mark your zigzag. There we go. So now that's the last line, and I can get that pinned, ready for stitching. I just need to get my other pin cushion. go. Again, we're going to have machine set up with a walking foot, stitch length 3. Take your pins out as you go. I'm going to be stitching in the ditch first, then I'm going to come back and do the zigzag. So what that does, the stitch in the ditch will just hold everything together. There we go. Let's take it to the machine. Okay. So again, I'm going to be starting in the middle and working my way out. Let's get your needle down. Watch your hands on the pins and take them out if they're going to get in the way of the stitching. So this is the bit that you really want to be taking your time on. So as you can see, as we have gone through this series, that stitching in the ditch plays an important part in the process. It's a great help for stabilising quilts before doing more intricate quilting. Or it can become part of the design process as well. You don't want to limit yourself just to stitching in the ditch. There are some other great designs that you can do using your walking foot. And sometimes using those allows you to gain a little bit more practice so that you can be more proficient in what you're doing. So once I've done this, what I can do is the quilt is going to be secure now. Once all this quilt in the ditch is done, I could take out all the pins in one go. If you don't want to wait to take them out when they get in the way. So it's always important to remember, even with using your walking foot, you want to go at a speed that is comfortable for you and your machine, for it to do its job. You don't want to be forcing the fabric under the walking foot. So this is my last row of quilting in the ditch. There we go. So now I'm going to be quilting my diagonals. So you can just do it from the edge, but everything's secure. So I'm just going to do it row by row. Do remember that when you get to the point where you're going to pivot your machine, that your needle is down, and that you put your foot down before you start sewing. It is so easy to forget to do that. So what you find is the more quilting that you do on a quilt, the more dense it is, the stiffer your fabric becomes. It's just the way it happens with all the extra thread in it. So that is another thing to think of when you're doing your quilting. The effect that you want on your finished quilt, if you want it to have a soft drape, or is it one that you're quite happy for it to keep its shape and have a firmer feel. So it's always important to remember that we've just done 9 different designs here. There are endless designs that you can create just using your walking foot. My machine here only has a straight stitch, but if your machine has decorative stitches, you can also use those with a walking foot. The wavy line is one that is quite nice to use. So don't let yourself be limited by what we've been doing here. We're at the end of a line there. So we're nearly there. So all the marking lines that I've put into my quilt, once it's all joined together, it will get washed and they'll all disappear. So you just want to make sure that whatever you use for marking, that it's not permanent. So there we go, got to the end of the line. This is my last row. At last. There we have it. So, and there it is on the back. So that's your herringbone. As I said, you can do smaller versions of it as well. So that's our 9 blocks. So that's our 9 blocks complete. So as I said, as we were doing that one, there are so many more designs that you're able to do with your walking foot. But I'm hoping that having this sampler will give you some ideas about what you can do, give you the confidence to go out and create your own designs, and also to give you the confidence that you can stitch in the ditch and not have to worry about keeping in that narrow channel. It will help you, all the practice that you put in will help you to keep it as accurate as possible. So now that that's done, we're going to form a quilt. So I look forward to speaking to you very soon and as we come to the next stage of the process. Take care for now.